but it's a huge challenge as well because there just hasn't been anybody studying this part of the world in such detail.
When you see the archaeological sites perched up in places and you wonder, what's the symbolism of that?
The name Africa is no stranger to many ears, but do you know that there are many things yet unknown about this great continent? Now take a closer look at this world map. It is made up of 7 different continents, including Africa ranking as the second largest. With each of these continents having a unique climate, weather, relief patterns, and history, Africa boasts one of the largest deserts in the world, the Sahara Desert. If you want some adventures, you would find the Sahara Desert if you traveled up north of Africa. The Sahara Desert spans more than 9 million square kilometers and is home to at least 10 nations including Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Sudan, and Tunisia. Sand dunes, mountain ranges, salt flats, rocky, desolate plateaus, and dry valleys can all be found in the Sahara Desert. But do you know there are several other fascinating wonders that are buried under the Sahara Desert? Join us as we show you scientists' new discoveries found under the Sahara Desert. Massive mega lake. British scientists have discovered a massive lake called Mega Chad existing beneath the Great Sahara Desert. Unfortunately, this megalake has shrunk to a small portion of its original size in the last few hundred years. Geologists Ted Maxwell and his colleagues from the National Air and Space Museum recently discovered signs of the lake. It was discovered while examining radar images captured by the Space Shuttle Radar Topography mission. The geologists pieced together the outline of an old mega-lake using photographs of wind-blown sediments formed by flowing water, and bedrock detected by radar beneath the desert sands. The aridity of Egypt makes it easier for radar to detect distinct underlying structures with buried waterways found up to 50 feet below the desert surface. The Eastern Sahara had flooded around 250,000 years ago when the Nile River pushed through a narrow channel close to Wadi Tushka, forming a lake that at its largest size covered more than 42,000 square miles. Now take a closer look at these 2 photos, provided by NASA's Shuttle Radar Topography mission. On the left is the mega lake in the Sahara Desert that is 810 feet above sea level and covers 42,000 square miles. It is contrasted with a smaller lake that is just about 623 feet above sea level and covers 18,600 square miles. Mega Chad, which formerly covered 139,000 square miles, which is equivalent to about 360,000 square kilometers of Central Africa, was once the largest freshwater lake in the world. However, over some 1,000 years ago, it swiftly dwindled to a minuscule fraction of its former size. The only remaining body of water is Lake Chad, which, at 137 square miles, is still sizable but considerably smaller than it once was. Even Lake Chad has further diminished in size as a result of human activities. By drawing fresh water from the lake, which spans the borders of Chad, Niger, Nigeria, and Cameroon, humans would continue to take advantage of the lake at the expense of the lake's size and attributes. Apart from the lake, did you know that the Sahara Desert plays a major role in the fertilization of the Amazon rainforest? This is because dust from the remains of the dried-up lake drifts across the Atlantic to help fertilize the jungle, thus explaining how the Amazon rainforest flourishes. One of the relevance of this discovery, as discussed by the researchers, was how the Baudelaire Depression, which was once a lake and is now the largest source of dust in the entire world, helped the Amazon rainforest to flourish. Although they are on different continents, thousands of miles away, and a vast ocean separates them, the Amazon rainforest's lush vegetation is maintained in large part by the dust from Africa's Sahara Desert. Each year, millions of tons of dust are transported across the Atlantic, carrying with them rich nutrients that end up fertilizing the depleted soils of the Amazon. More importantly, it includes fertilizers like phosphorus to restore the essential elements that the deep jungle's yearly strong rains wash away. According to researchers, about 22,000 tons of phosphorus from the Sahara are reportedly dumped on the Amazon every year, And Dr. Simon Armitage of Royal Holloway's Geography Department says the process includes dust from the dried-up mega-chad. Some experts believe that the Amazon rainforest is like a huge hanging basket. We all know that daily watering quickly removes soluble nutrients from the soil in a hanging basket, so if the plants are to live, they must be supplemented with fertilizer. Similar to the significant washout of soluble minerals from the Amazon basin, soil fertility must be maintained by an external source of nutrients, which happens to be the Sahara Desert. The Nubian Sandstone Aquifer System, NSAS. If you've never heard, the largest known system of fossil water aquifers in the world is called the Nubian Sandstone Aquifer System, NSAS. It covers the political borders of 4 nations in northeastern Africa and is buried underground in the easternmost part of the Sahara Desert. NSAS has a land region of little over 2 million kilometers, comprising most of Egypt, northwestern Sudan, northeastern Chad, and southeastern Libya. The significance of the NSAS as a potential water resource for future development projects in these countries is outstanding. NSAS is thought to contain an estimated 150,000 kilometers of groundwater. The system is used by the Libyan Great Man-Made River, GMMR project, which draws significant volumes of water for agricultural and human consumption from this aquifer each year. Since year 2001, an extensive drilling and development program has been carried out as part of a land reclamation project in the Nubian Sandstone Aquifer, located between the Toshka and Abu Simbel regions of Egypt. The aquifer's thickness varies between 140 and 230 meters and is primarily made up of strong ferruginous sandstone with significant shale and clay intercalation. The salinity of groundwater ranges from 240 to 1,300 parts per million and ranges from fresh to slightly brackish. According to the ion dominance ordering, chloride predominates over sulfate and bicarbonate, while sodium cation most frequently dominates over calcium and magnesium. The majority of groundwater is meteoric in origin, as indicated by the term meteoric water, which refers to water that originated as precipitation. High levels of sodium, chloride, and sulfates are a result of the clay and gypsiferous shales being dissolved and leached over a long period of time. The International Atomic Energy Agency has been collaborating with the 4 NSAS nations over the years to help better understand the complexity of the aquifer. The aquifer, which extends beneath 4 nations in northeastern Africa, is the subject of numerous unresolved scientific concerns. However, in collaboration with other international organizations, the IEEA employs isotope hydrology to provide answers to some of the most important concerns, such as how long it will last and how human activity will affect it. This helps the countries who share the NSAS better coordinate their policies and work together. The NSAS reserves are 20 times larger than the North American Great Lakes and are equal to approximately 500 years of Nile River discharge. Along with the Sahara Desert, it also underlies some of Libya, Egypt, Chad, and Sudan. While there is a large supply of usable groundwater, it is also non-renewable because the fossil reserves do not actively participate in the local hydrological cycle. As a result, there is no way to replenish the water. Like oil, it can only be used once. New species of dinosaurs. The year 2020 saw the discovery of a brand new species of dinosaur that lived about 100 million years ago in what is today the Sahara Desert. The Mansurosaurus shahinai dinosaur was a long-necked plant-eating member of the sauropod dinosaur family. The fossils of this long-necked, four-legged dinosaur with school bus-like proportions that existed millions of years ago were discovered in an oasis in the Sahara Desert in Egypt. This discovery helped shed light on a puzzling moment in the history of dinosaurs in Africa. Mansurosaurus shahinai, a plant-eating dinosaur from the Cretaceous period, was described by researchers as being about 33 feet long, weighing roughly 5.5 tons, and belonging to the Titanosaur family, which also includes the largest terrestrial animals ever to walk the Earth. Mansurosaurus shared the same bony plates known as osteoderms that are found in many titanosaurs. According to postdoctoral researcher Eric Gorskak of the Field Museum in Chicago, who was formerly at Ohio University, much of Africa is covered in grasslands, savannas, and rainforests, which conceal the underlying rock where many fossils could still be found. One of the very few dinosaurs from the last 15 million years of the Mesozoic era, or the age of the dinosaurs on continental Africa, is Mansurosaurus, which lived close to the shore of the old ocean that existed before the Mediterranean Sea. According to paleontologist Hesham Salem of Egypt's Mansoura University, who led the study, the find discovered at the Dakhla Oasis in central Egypt is the most complete of any mainland African land vertebrate during an even longer time span of roughly 30 million years prior to the dinosaur mass extinction 66 million years ago. The researchers found fragments of the animal's skull, lower jaw, ribs, shoulder and forelimb, back foot, and osteoderms. Mansurosaurus was as large as a bull African elephant. It was dwarfed by titanosaur cousins like the 100-foot-long Argentinosaurus from South America, the Dreadnoughtus and Patagotitan from North America, and the Paralateton from Africa. Paleontologist Matt Lamana of the Carnegie Museum of Natural History in Pittsburgh said that Mansurosaurus was a pipsqueak compared to some other titanosaurs, despite being a large animal by modern standards. The scientists came to the conclusion that Mansurosaurus was more closely linked to titanosaurs from Europe and Asia than from other parts of Africa and other southern hemisphere landmasses, including South America, which were once united in a supercontinent known as Gondwana. This also refutes long-held theories that claimed that Africa's dinosaur faunas were isolated from those of other continents because, according to Lamana, it in turn demonstrates for the first time that at least some dinosaurs could move between North Africa and southern Europe at the end of the Mesozoic. Ancient river system. In the year 2015, scientists discovered proof of a vast river network that once traversed the Sahara. Rainfall in the area is probably what fueled the river system, which is thought to have been active as recently as 5,000 years ago. The remains of the vast prehistoric river network that once traversed what is now the Sahara Desert have been found by researchers. According to the researchers' analysis, the river system was so extensive that, if it were still running now, it would be the planet's 12th largest drainage basin. Furthermore, researchers discovered ancient riverbeds using radar photos from a Japanese Earth observation satellite. The riverbeds appear to have started in the Atlas Mountains to the north and the Hoggar Mountains to the east, extending from the center of the Sahara to the Mauritanian coast in West Africa. Before now, it had been argued previously that the Sahara was once wet and humid and very much alive with different life forms. Afterward, a 1957 expedition, headed by the French anthropologist Henri Lotte, confirmed the discovery of giraffe and elephant paintings in caves. Since then, scientists have proposed that throughout the past 300,000 years, the Sahara has alternated between rainy and dry times. According to Live Science, cattle, sheep, and goats roamed over green savanna as recently as 7,000 years ago. Look carefully at the Tamanrasset River, as well as the modern river networks in northern and central Africa, which are depicted on this map. Around 10 years ago, the discovery of fine river sediment and a significant underwater canyon carved into the continental shelf off the coast of Mauritania raised the likelihood that the area originally had a river system. However, there was a lack of concrete evidence required to support this. But this time, the scientists used orbital radar satellite photography, which enabled them to use microwaves to capture photos of the Sahara's geology meters beneath the sandy surface. The old riverbeds of the waterway, which astonishingly coincided with the canyon off the shore, were visible to the scientists from this data. This provided the needed evidence that was lacking before. The last of these so-called African humid periods, AHPs, is thought to have caused the river to flow intermittently. However, when it ended about 5,000 years ago, it transformed the lush, moist, and humid Sahara into the arid, dusty region we know today. As the Earth wobbles on its axis, these changes between the rainy and dry seasons are thought to happen every 20,000 years or so. However, given that climate change is presently upsetting weather patterns and making things more difficult to anticipate, it is uncertain whether or not the old river beneath the desert will begin to flow again during the next African humid periods. Bizarre meat-eating dinosaur. According to an Egyptian-American study team, a renowned fossil site in Egypt's Sahara Desert has yielded a new species of large-bodied meat-eating dinosaur, or theropod. The fossil of this unknown species represents the first known instance of the abelosaurid group of theropods from the Bahariya Formation, a rock formation that dates to the Middle Cretaceous, about 98 million years ago, and is exposed in the Bahariya oasis of the western desert of Egypt. Abelosaurids were among the most varied and widely distributed large predatory dinosaurs in the southern landmasses during the Cretaceous period. This period is the last period of the Age of Dinosaurs, most notably represented by the horned, demonic-looking Patagonian form Carnotaurus of Jurassic World and Prehistoric Planet fame. The newly discovered abelosaurid fossil adds yet another species to the group of gigantic predatory dinosaurs that inhabited what is now the Egyptian Sahara about 98 million years ago, together with Spinosaurus and two other enormous theropods, Carcharodontosaurus and Bahariosaurus. This location is renowned for having produced the original specimens of a variety of amazing dinosaurs in the early 20th century, notably the enormous sail-backed fish-eater Spinosaurus, which was later destroyed in World War II. Fossils of abelosaurid dinosaurs had previously been discovered in Europe and on many of the continents of the modern southern hemisphere, but never from the Bahariya. For the record, more than a century ago, German paleontologist Ernst Stromer von Reichenbach found the first Spinosaurus aegyptiacus remains in the Egyptian Sahara. However, following the Allied bombing of Munich in 1944, all of Stromer's fossils were lost, leaving a lot of information about this carnivore unknown. But in 2008, fossils dating back 97 million years showed up in Morocco's Sahara, which finally revealed the Spinosaurus. It is the earliest fossilized example of an abelosauridae from northeastern Africa and demonstrates how this genus of carnivorous dinosaurs once roamed most of the northern section of the continent, from what is now Egypt to Morocco, and maybe as far south as Niger. A close relative of Bahariosaurus has also been discovered in Morocco, together with Spinosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus, demonstrating that this fauna of large to giant theropods coexisted throughout most of northern Africa at this time. Bail al-Salem, a doctoral student at Ohio University, led the study, which was based on research he conducted while working at the Mansoura University Vertebrate Paleontology Center, MUVP, in Mansoura, Egypt. A 2016 MUVP mission to the Bahariya Oasis discovered the fossil of a perfectly preserved vertebra from the base of the neck. The vertebra belonged to a theropod called an abelosaurid, which had a bulldog-like face, short teeth, and tiny arms. Its estimated body length was about 6 meters, equivalent to about 20 feet. Plesiosaur fossils. Next on, small plesiosaur fossils, or long-necked marine reptiles from the dinosaur era, were discovered in a 100-million-year-old river system in the Sahara Desert of Morocco. This finding shows that some plesiosaur species, which were previously believed to be marine creatures, may have really resided in freshwater. Plesiosaurs were ancient reptiles with small heads, long necks, and 4 long flippers. Mary Anning, a fossil researcher, discovered them for the first time in 1823. Plesiosaurs were sea animals, or were popularly believed to be unlike the Loch Ness Monster, which is what inspired reconstructions of it. Now, researchers from Université Hassan II in Morocco, the University of Bath, and the University of Portsmouth in the UK have reported finding tiny plesiosaurs in an African river that dated back to the Cretaceous. The fossils include teeth and bones from 3-meter-long adults, as well as an arm bone from a newborn that was just 1.5 meters long. They imply that these animals regularly inhabited freshwater habitats and subsisted there, sharing it with frogs, crocodiles, turtles, fish, and the enormous aquatic dinosaur Spinosaurus. The plesiosaurs may have even spent their entire lives in freshwater, like modern river dolphins, according to these fossils, which indicate they were designed to dwell there. Although it may seem odd in some sense, isolated bones actually reveal a lot about the ancient ecosystems and the animals that lived there. The bones and teeth were not found together as a skeleton, but rather dispersed and in several locations. Therefore, every tooth and bone represents a different species. The number of animals in the collection was over a dozen. They provided scientists with more information to work with because they were so much more prevalent than skeletons, according to Dr. Nick Longrich. The location of an animal's death can be determined by its bones, but its living environment can be determined by its teeth, which were lost while the animal was still alive. Additionally, the teeth exhibit severe wear, similar to that of the fish-eating dinosaur Spinosaurus discovered in the same beds. According to scientists, this suggests that the plesiosaurs were consuming a similar diet, chipping their teeth on the armored fish that resided in the river. This suggests they were frequent users of the river rather than just passing through. The ability of the plesiosaurs to endure both fresh and salt water, like some whales, such as the beluga whale, is a more feasible hypothesis. It's also quite possible that, like contemporary river dolphins, the plesiosaurs lived in the river permanently. Due to their diminutive size, plesiosaurs may have hunted in shallow rivers. The little plesiosaurs are frequently discovered in brackish or fresh water in other parts of England, Africa, and Australia, and they are members of the family Leptocleididae. Additionally, other plesiosaurs, such as the long-necked Elasmosaurus, have been discovered in fresh or brackish seas in China and North America. Plesiosaurs lived in freshwater habitats as well as the sea. However, the fossil record also implies that the final plesiosaurs perished 66 million years ago, around the same time as the dinosaurs, after about 150 million years. Now, it's time for today's subscriber's pick. Take a careful look at this picture. What do you think of this huge thing being unearthed by researchers from beneath the desert sands? What do you think it is, and how did it find its way there? Do you think it is somehow related to any of these other finds we have presented you with today? Let us know in the comment section below. A chunk of protoplanet older than Earth. An ancient meteorite that was discovered in a dune sea in Algeria is unlike any other item ever found in the universe. This very rare fragment of an embryonic planet that existed before Earth was conceived was found in a distant area of the Sahara Desert in the spring of 2020. The meteorite is known as Erg-Chech 002 EC002. Formed inside the crust of a long-gone protoplanet, a tiny celestial object that acts as a building block for planets. The volcanic space rock provides a previously unattainable picture of planetary formation in the early solar system and is the oldest known lava that has ever fallen to Earth. This great gemstone was discovered by geochemistry expert Jean-Alex Barat and his team. Scientist Barat and his colleagues were also aware that the EC002 might be quite old based on their prior research on another uncommon andesitic meteorite, which was covered in a study published in 2014. According to Barat, the age of the strange rock was not the only issue of interest. The origin of such extraterrestrial andesitic melts and the mechanisms of the development of primordial crusts piqued their intense attention. Such samples are not what to come by every day and are quite valuable. It was immediately clear to everyone that this rock was unique when the initial descriptions of it were spelled out. The meteorite known as EC002 is made up of many pieces that weigh a total of roughly 70 pounds and is named after its place of impact in the Erg-Chech Dune Sea in Algeria. The magnificent crystal-filled stones were discovered in May 2020, but the earthly degradation of the alien pebbles suggests that they may have fallen in the desert much earlier. Barat affirmed that it wasn't a meteorite that had recently fallen to Earth. However, it had gone through a mildly weathered process. But thanks to research on the Tataouine meteorite, scientists now know that even in the Sahara, terrestrial weathering moves quickly. The rock was dated by magnesium and aluminum isotope analysis to be roughly 4.566 billion years old, making it the oldest known piece of an igneous crust ever discovered. For comparison's sake, EC002 is roughly 1.24 million years older than the next oldest igneous meteorite, known as NWA 11119, whereas Earth's formation began several million years after the formation of these rocks. EC002 is famous for its unique composition in addition to its unmatched age. The meteorite's silicon dioxide content of 58% indicates that its ancient parent body formerly had a crust composed of andesite rock, which is unique from basalt, a more well-known igneous substance that is frequently found in volcanically active regions of the Earth. These andesitic crusts, according to Barat and his colleagues, were presumably common in asteroids and protoplanets during the early solar system, but they have become incredibly rare over the billions of years since that time. In the turbulent and crash-prone age of our solar system, ancient protoplanets were either integrated into larger worlds like Earth or were blasted away by collisions with other objects. The team added that remnants of primordial crusts are not only rare in the meteorite record, but they are also rare today in the asteroid belt. EC002 is clearly distinctive from all other asteroid groups, and no other object with spectral characteristics similar to EC002 has been identified. Terrifying ancient crocodile. Crocodiles are naturally scary thanks to their sharp teeth and frightening appearances. But do you know that a fearsome, bus-sized prehistoric crocodile once lived in the seas? The largest known sea-dwelling crocodile in the world was discovered by paleontologists scouring Tunisia for fossils. This ancient crocodile was more than 30 feet long and weighed about 3 tons. Researchers named the new giant crocodile species Meateater rex and reported their results in the journal Cretaceous Research. The skull only was more than 5 feet in length, and Federico Fante of the University of Bologna described the crocodile as huge. It was, in his opinion, incredibly gigantic and nearly the size of a bus. Owing to its huge size, it is no mistake to think that the creature was at the top of the food chain when it existed, or at least was where it lived. The National Geographic Society Committee for Research and Exploration assisted Smith and his crew in finding the fossils, which were buried beneath a few inches of sediment on the border of the Sahara Desert in Tunisia, a fossil-rich nation. Among all their finds, this find was a major surprise. Not because they had found fossils, but rather because they had found particularly lovely ones. The rest of the body was lying there as fancy, and his colleagues dug up the skull from its hidden place. This was the ideal find and a dream of every archaeologist. Researchers are still trying to identify the remains of turtles and fish remains that were found in the same region where the fossil was discovered. Due to these findings, researchers opinionated that the region was most likely a lagoon that faced the ocean, and that there could also be some intriguing mysteries and solutions buried in their ruins. The Meateater rex could have been an ambush predator, scavenger, or predator that could hunt in the water. Comparing the newly discovered animal to other crocodiles with huge heads and short teeth revealed that it had an incredibly strong bite force that allowed it to crush its prey. Turtles would have been a delicious feast for the Meateater rex. Thus, this discovery is remarkable for more than just its size because it challenges earlier hypotheses regarding primordial life. At the conclusion of the Jurassic period, Meateater rex's crocodile group was supposed to have become extinct. However, this specific Meateater rex lived roughly 130 million years ago. And then there was the earlier research that suggested a major global extinction, eradicating many marine reptiles, including this particular group, during the Jurassic and Cretaceous ages. Another explanation that has lost credibility is the mass extinction theory, because Rex lived thousands of years after the alleged extinction. This led some researchers to conclude that the mass extinction theory was incorrect, and that a greater understanding and deep research of what really happened and how events unfolded at the end of the Jurassic period is needed by science. An ancient four-legged whale. Lastly is an ancient four-legged whale fossil that was found by Egyptian scientists. In the Sahara Desert of Egypt, scientists stumbled upon a fossil that belonged to an extinct amphibious four-legged whale that was about 43 million years old. This is one of the wonders of nature that has left our jaws wide open. We've seen incredibly dangerous crocodiles, but not a whale with 4 legs. These walking whales specifically had a strong raptorial eating style, according to the study's authors, who noted that this creature had distinctive skull traits and that its mandible indicated a capacity for more efficient oral mechanical processing. The creature was certainly vicious and deadly with the ability to kill, according to Abdullah Gohar, who revealed to everyone that this aquatic creature could rain havoc and utter destruction upon its victim. Scientists would not have us continue calling this creature an ancient four-legged whale. As such, they looked for a name for the creature that portrayed an Egyptian god. The K9-headed Egyptian god Anubis, who is associated with mummification in the afterlife, became the inspiration for the name given by scientists to the new whale species, Phyomycetus anubis. Like a killer whale is today, it was most likely a top predator back then. According to scientists, whales were previously herbivorous terrestrial creatures similar to deer. However, over a period of around 10 million years, whales in the ocean underwent carnivorous evolution. The finding of this animal with 4 legs represents a stage in the evolution of the savagely eating whale with legs. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.